Hello, this is Tom Clapp with this week's Precious Metals Market Update. And I want to start by just saying what a day. As I film this on Tuesday, we've had the day that many people have been predicting, that the day that the Chinese physical market exchanges opened, and we've seen silver up 80 cents or nearly 5% today, and we've seen gold up nearly 2% today, or over $22. So it's been very interesting. This is the breakout we've been looking for. And certainly when you look at silver, it's gone from $13.88 to over $17.20. We've had a 22% jump this year already. And what it brings to mind is I want to go back to 2010, and that was the year that we saw silver go up 78%, where it moved from 17 and change up to 30.60 by the end of the year, and we had a 78% gain. I really believe with all my heart we're going to see that again this year in 2016 by the time the year's over. People don't realize the pressure that this Chinese physical market is going to put. You got to remember, China has 4.5 times more people than we have in the U.S., and now they can walk in and buy physical gold and silver from the state or the country and take it and have gold and silver in their hands for the first time in history. And then follow that up with China coming on as getting SDRs, special drawing rights with the IMF, that will make them the 5th currency with SDRs starting sometime in September. But between now and then, they have to say how many ounces of gold they have, and speculation runs rampant when you hear people predicting how much gold China might have, because the last time they stated was in 2009. And we know they bought every month since. And we know what they're buying that comes in through Hong Kong, but what we don't know is what they're buying internally, since they're the largest miners, the largest producer of gold in the world. So if it comes in over the 8,163 tons the U.S. supposedly has, because we haven't had an audit in decades, then you literally can see the dollar fall completely out of bed. And to make these dots connect, back in the 1980, back to 2000 to 2012, gold went up 5 times while the dollar went down from 126 on the world index to 72. So what that gave you is an 11% gain in gold for every 1% the dollar went down. So far, the dollar's only gone down 5%. Gold's up 22, 23%. So it's only been a little over 4%. But watch what happens when China takes over and has a yuan that's going to be partially backed by gold. They announce how many tons of gold they have to the world to become members of the IMF and have special drawing rights. Same time, Saudi Arabia is saying in June they'll make changes in what is the petro currency, and many people believe the US dollar will just be part of the package. And then the conclusion is, how many treasuries will China liquidate? They hold $1.4 trillion of US treasuries, and now that they've got SDRs, they're got their own exchanges in gold and silver. They've got people bringing money there for investment. They got 18 partners in their gold and silver situation. It throws out the ability to the JP Morgans and others that are shorting the market. Goldman Sachs is part of a $5 billion settlement. Deutsche Bank in Europe admits fault in rigging the gold and silver markets, heavy penalties. Some people bring the Deutsche Bank down and start banks falling like dominoes. But all this makes no difference. What you've got to remember is the dollar will fall unbelievable when they start liquidating the treasuries, and the Fed has to monetize the debt because there is no liquidity in the treasury market out there. Interest rates are down to nothing. Who's going to buy a bond for nothing? So we have seen a turn, and it's going to be big. And I appreciate last week the many kind remarks I had. But I think the world of Steve and what he's doing, and it's people like Steve that are getting people aware where we can look at fundamentals of supply and demand and talk about these things. And then the final piece of the puzzle to come in and give you a cheap price when we're marking gold up 2.5% and silver at 3% above our cost and charging, we're paying the shipping and the insurance and charging nothing when you sell it down the road. That's the lowest round trip anybody can give you. And it's just an incredible opportunity for you to get your money in there. In closing, I want to mention I was reading a couple Bible verses this morning. And one of them was about Proverbs 15:12 about having many counselors in times of financial disorder. And the way you do survive, you talk to people with different beliefs and get your money into different baskets. Like we're told in Ecclesiastes 11:2 to divide your wealth in 7 or 8 ways, because no man knows what disaster will come upon the land. So you look at these things, and it's important. That's what you've got to be doing, because one person, everybody has a different view of what's going to happen. I may be the guy you talk to about metals. You may talk to somebody else about stocks, about bonds, dividend stocks, REITs, real estate investment trust, foreign currency accounts, things like that you divide. But it's never been more important to be diversified, and especially if the equity markets start rolling over, you need to have a place to get out. So hopefully this has been helpful again this week. And you can reach us at 800-247-2812, and you can talk with Dan. He's been with me 18, 19 years, and Kathleen's been trading for 5 years. So you can give us a call. We'll be happy to answer any questions you have about bars, coins. And if you don't have a precious metals IRA self-directed, if you're interested, we can walk you through that too. With this week's Precious Metals Market Update, this is Tom Cloud signing out.